I've learned a new way to solve cubes, and it works for all sizes, though larger cubes are trickier because you've got more going on in the center. You can have parities, and I don't care that much about those, so I'm only going to show the 3x3, but I thought it was interesting, which is why I wanted to learn it. I think it's slow. I mean, I know it's slow and it requires a lot of moves, so it's certainly not something that I'll do probably very much, possibly ever again after I do this video. But I wanted to explain the video that is in the ABCube method. It was created by a woman named Sunshine Sandra Workman, and she's got lots of videos on YouTube and instructions on her website, which I will post here. And you can watch all of those. I think some are better than others, and some are meandering and confusing and not at all helpful and extremely long. So certainly go there and look at the source to find out any information historically or concepts mathematically behind what she's doing. But if you just want to learn basically the steps, hopefully this will help, and it will help me if I want to ever go back and remember how I did it. So she starts with the yellow and does corners first. So I'd like to just start moving some yellow corners to the top here if I can, just by, I know if I could just rotate that, I can do this. This is not, I don't think, exactly how she does it. But now I can't move that one up here easily, so this is where I'll do her method. So the corner you're going to be working on basically is this front right, and you have a QB with the yellow piece, doesn't matter which side it's on here, that you're going to be moving up to here with a series of what she calls her A moves, which is part of where the ABCube comes from. And her A moves consist of just 4 moves, which are very simple. With this positioned where you want it to go, the first move is what I would call, if you know notation, this is the D slice or the down slice. If you move it counterclockwise, it's a D prime, but I think she just says, so we're going to move this away from this column this way. That's the first move. Then we move this piece down to where that was, which is really an R prime. We move this D slice back, and then we move this piece back up to the top, which is an R. Just those 4 moves, and if you do that repeatedly, it will continue to swap these two and rotate how they go until yellow is finally there. So I'll do that again. So we'll do that, 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 and that. Now we'll do it again. Over, down, back over, up, over, down, back over, up, over, down, back over, up. And we've moved that to there just like that. So now what she does is she sees which of these yellow corners are on matching basically sides. So whatever this color is should match that one. It doesn't. That one doesn't match that. Okay, those do match, and then those don't. So sometimes you'll have no matches. Sometimes they will automatically all match. Sometimes you'll have one. And what you do, if you have none, it doesn't matter how this is oriented. If you have, I'm sorry if I said you had none. Obviously, if you have them all, you need to skip this step. And if you have just one pair like this, you move the cube so that that pair is to the back. And then now what we do is we do her B move, which again comes from the ABCube method. And it consists of, I'll show the steps if I can do it, and then I will translate it to notation because that's how I remember things best. And in These initial B moves, it's actually the pure notation that I've written. Later on, we'll see we do a modified B move where we're not always moving the outer edges. Although that works, that's more the case on big cubes. Anyway, so with the B move, what we want to do is we move that way. Trying to remember to move this up, move that over, move the R side up, move that back over, move that initial one down, move that over there, and move that side down. So now that has kept this corner yellow on top, and not these three, but the yellows are still there. So we need to now go back to those A moves until we get yellows on top, but this is how we do it. We keep the cube oriented this way. We do our first A move. Remember, was over, down, over, up. I didn't do it. Over, down, over, up. Okay, it's done that one. So now don't rotate the cube, but instead hold on to it and just rotate this piece. And then what you'll find is if you do two more A moves, it'll move this one up. So over, down, over, up. There's one. Over, down, over, up. There's two. So now again, hold on to the cube and just move the top slice. So now we'll do this one, and if we do the A move twice, it'll move this correctly. So we do over, down, over, grab it, and one more, over, down, over, and grab it. And so that has put all of the yellow corners back facing up, and it has paired them together. So reds are both there, for example, blues are both there, and then oranges are there. So the yellow part is done as far as corners go there. So now we flip it over and we do the same for white. So if they weren't all facing up, which is not always the case, then you would do the A moves to get them all facing up. And now we do the same thing as we did with the others. We look to see if there's any two that are paired. Okay, there's some blue ones that are paired. So we put those to the back by ending the cube that way. So those are the back, and now we do that B move, which is moving a U slice over, do a left up, move U back, do a right up, move U back, do a left down, move the U back, and do a right down. And as you'll notice, that didn't mess up anything on the yellow. It's kept the white facing up on this piece, but these three have been rotated. So we do our A moves, starting with this one. So over, down, over, up. There's once. Over, down, over, up. And you don't have to remember twice because it'll be obvious. So we finished that one. So hold on the cube, just rotate the top. Now we're going to do this one. The A moves twice. Over, down, over, up, over, down, over, up. And there, now that's on top. We rotate just the top and do it for this one. Over, down, over, up, over, down, over, up. Now all the whites are face up and you have all of the pairs matching. So if you want, you can rotate either the bottom or the top. So we have all the corners correct. So these are all four of the red corners, all four of the green corners, the orange, and the blue. So now that we have the white and the yellow corners done, what we want to do is solve the middle edge pieces of those two slices. So what we do is we rotate the cube so that white and yellow are on the sides. Doesn't matter how right now because we're going to be moving this. I mean, you can have either the white and the yellow like this on the left side, this on the right side, or you could move it, sorry. So the yellow's over here and white's over here. Doesn't matter as long as they're on the sides. So what we want to do now is we want to look at the center slice and see if there's any yellow or white that is face up. So there's one right there. It's a yellow that's face up. So what we do is we look at this color that's not yellow, it's red. We want to bring the corner of that color down to match. Okay, so now they all match red. Now what we want to do is we want to find where yellow goes. Does it go on this side or this side? And of course it goes on this side, and you can tell by the corners. So to move something from here to that side, we do a pretty regular B, is what I'll call it. So I will show you how that works. We do, and it's hard for me to do it while I talk, but basically we're going to, so we move the U out of the way, we move this left up, move that back. Now this time, instead of the right, I'm doing a modified B. I'm moving the operative row, or column, back to there. Move the U back the opposite way. So I'm moving this back to the side where we want it. And then we do the left side down. Move U back to where it was. And we do the column that we moved up, down. So that's the middle one. And so we move that down. So what that has done is that has put that piece in there correctly. So what we do is we continue to look at this center and see if there's any yellow or white that's face up. Okay, there's a yellow. So again, we bring the corners up to match that color, which is orange. We want to move yellow to this side, so we do those same B moves. So move that away, left up, move it back, hide that column, move the U back, move down, go back over, grab it and move it back down. And that has put that piece there. So we look again to see, are there any, okay, here's a white. Let's do another yellow if we have one though. So just because I'm just teaching, it doesn't matter. You can do whites and yellows intermixed. But so here's a yellow, but it's not here face up. So all we have to do to get it here face up and still have yellow and white on the sides is just rotate the cube 180 degrees. So now we still have white and yellow on the sides, and we have this yellow face up where we want it. So the color's blue. Bring the blue corners down to it. We want it to go, I guess we're going to have to do it anyway. We want it to go to the right side. So here's where we do what she calls a mirror of B. Same sort of idea, but instead of doing lefts and rights the way we did before, I like to look at it, and I think she does too, more like which columns you're moving first. So we move the U out of the way. So I'm saying that way. If we moved it here, you see we'd be moving that piece onto the column we're dealing with, and that'll just get in our way. So we want to move it out of the way over there. We want to do our first column up, then we want to move the U slice back. We want to do our second column, which is always the middle for a 3x3. Move it back to hide it. We want to move the U back so the first column's back to where it was, and move the first column down. Move the U back to where the opposite way where it was. You can tell by the yellow over there, and then move that column down. So that has put that piece over here. So now we look again, we still have yellow and white on the sides. We look at the center piece to see if there's a yellow or a white where we want it, and there's not quite where we want it. So we have to rotate the cube so that we have white facing up on this front middle piece. So that's what we want. That's red. We bring red corners down to it first. Okay, now it's white, which is on this side, so we want to do that modified mirror B move. So we move away, we move the first column up, we move that U slice back to where it was, we hide the piece, we move the U back to the original position, we bring that first column down, we rotate the U back to where it was, and we bring that second column down. And that has moved that piece to there. And now we have another white on top, perfectly positioned where we want it. So that's orange. Let's bring orange up. White still goes to the right. So we do the modified B, out of the way, first column up, move that first back, hide it, move the original column back, move it down, turn back to where that really was, and then bring that first column back down. And that has put that piece there. We still have a white there, but it's not exactly where we want it. So we turn the cube. Now it's where we want it. Blue, bring blue up. Blue's already there. That's nice. And white goes here this time. So we do that initial B move, which is move it out of the way. First column up, move it back, hide that column, move that back, move it down, return to the way it was, and bring that first column back down. And now we have no more whites in, oh, yes we do. So there's a white. So we've got green to match the corners, bring it down, whites on this side, away, first column up, move it back, hide that piece, move the U so that column's back to where it was, bring it back down, move the U so that the original slice is in the middle like it was, and bring it back down. Now we should have no more yellows. Oops, there's a yellow. Okay, so we've got a yellow. It's green. So let's bring green. And this just illustrates how many moves this takes just to do simple things. But you don't have to really memorize any algorithms, which is nice. So we've got the yellow there. We want to bring green corners up. So there they are. Yellow's over here. So we do that mirror of the B. Basically move it out of the way. Bring the first column up, move it back, hide that piece, move the first column to where it was, bring it down, move the center back to where it was, and bring it back down. Now we don't have any yellows or whites in the center. And notice the centers on the colored sides don't match their sides yet. I mean, that should not be orange if this is green, mostly green. We'll attend to that next. So we don't have any yellows or whites left, and that means the yellow and the white sides with their edge pieces are all correct. So that's good. So now we want to deal with the centerpiece. So let's just rotate the centerpiece until the fixed centers, which happens on a 3x3 and odd numbered cubes, are in their correct places. So now all we have is a few more edge pieces to fix. So once you have the yellow face done and that's white, and the yellow face done, then what we do is we move on to the next step. And the next step is to rotate the cube so that yellow's on top. And we want to address these side pieces that are not correct. So knowing our B moves, we swap this piece with either that one or that one, depending on whether it's a straight B or it's a modified B or mirror B. So it may seem counterintuitive at first, but basically we're going to need to dislodge this one to get one of these up there so then we can put it in the right place. So I'll just pick this one. So we do, since we know the original B moves something from the top up here over to that left face, we'll do the B move. So it's rotate that, move it up, rotate back, hide what you moved, move that back, return that down to where it was, move the first column back to where it was, and move it down. And so it's dislodged something that we didn't necessarily think we wanted, but it will help us. So now what we do is we look and see, okay, which of those pieces we dislodged has non-yellow or non-white. So it's not that one, it's this one. So we look at it and we see what color this is, and that's orange. So what we want to do is we want to hold that top slice and rotate the bottom two layers of the cube so that that bottom layer basically matches that color. Okay, so this is where that starts, and now we want to see, where does the green go? Does it go to here on the left, or does it go to here? And so we can tell by the bottom, this is the blue side, and this is the green side. We want it obviously to go over here, which is our regular straight B move. So we rotate out of the way, move the left side up, we rotate back. We hide it by moving the middle slice back. Rotate the U back to the first column where it was. Move that back down. Rotate the U's so that the first column is in the center and where it started, and then we move it back down. And so we have moved the correct piece there, and you can write the top just to see. Okay, so now we have this one that is wrong. And this doesn't want to go there, but we have to switch those right now so that then we can switch something else later. So we do the mirror B to move that down there. So let's move it out of the way, move that up, move that back to where it was, hide that second column, rotate back around so we can move that first column back down, rotate the opposite way, bring that second column back down. So we've dislodged more that we want, but the operative point is this piece doesn't have yellow or white. So again, we look at what it is. It's orange on the side, so we want to hold on to this top row, slide the cube, both layers on the bottom over to match this color. Where does blue go? Does it go there or here? It goes here, and we know this piece wants to go there. So we do the B mirror moves, which is rotate out of the way, move the column up, rotate that back, hide that center slice back, rotate the first slice back around so you get the first column where it was, move it back down, reverse the way you rotated, and move the center slice back down. And then we have positioned that correctly, and since this always moves 3 pieces, it has moved those yellows where we want them. If we just slide the top around, we see that it has been solved. I'm not sure I explained this case in the ABCube method when you're dealing with completing the yellow and the white sides. So what you do is you've got all your corners correct, which we saw before, and you look for, you have yellow and white placed so they're on the right and left. So we can have it like that, or we can have it like that. And what you do is you look at the center slice to see if there are any white or yellow pieces, and you want them to be face up when it's in this position so you can move them. Well, you don't have any here. But if you look at your yellow and white sides, the yellow side is all complete. All of the edges are in their proper place. But the white side isn't. You've got these 2 pieces and that one that are wrong. But they're not in the center slice. So what do? Well, what you have to do is you have to temporarily dislodge something else. But you can also dislodge pieces that are wrong anyway. So you know this piece is wrong up here. So, and this is one that you want to dislodge because you want to move basically so there's a white or a yellow up to this center slice. So we know if we swap these 2, that will bring this one up. So let's just do the regular B moves and swap those 2. So we know we move this out of the way, we move the first column up, we rotate the opposite way, we hide that piece, or bring the second column up, we rotate U back down, the opposite way we did, we bring that first column that we went up, now we do down, we rotate this back away, and we bring the initial column back down. So that has swapped out the white from there, and now if we do our looking for a white in this center, we find one. So we can deal with it the way we dealt with it before, which was, okay, white's on top facing up when it's in this position. Again, we have white and yellow on the sides. We want to bring the corners that match this color. So we want to bring the red corners to match that. We want to see if white goes here or here. It goes this way. So we do our regular B moves. So move it out of the way. First column up. Move this back. Second column, hide it to the back like that. Reverse the U, bring that first column to where it was. Bring it down. Reverse the U, putting that second column in the right position to bring it back down. And so we've correctly placed that white. So now if we look again, there's another white that's out of place. So we want to look at that. The corners are already there, so that's nice. White goes over here, so we do a regular B again. Out of the way, first column up. Move that slice back. Move our second column to the back. Move the U back the opposite way. Bring that first column back down. Move our U the opposite way and bring that first column back down. And so now we have fixed that piece, which is good. And we look, and there's one left. So same thing, we want to bring the orange corners up. They're already there. White goes to this side. Same old B moves. Over, up, over. Hide that center column. Bring this first one back down. Rotate back to bring that second column back down. And we've now fixed that so that we now have all of our yellow correct and all of our white correct. And we can move on to completing the other steps which follow next. Here's a case I didn't explain before because when I started, the first thing to do is to do your yellow corners. And I always start with the center, which on a 3x3 is fixed, as being yellow. So I can avoid this step. But I didn't specifically mention that. I showed it, but I didn't specifically mention it. So if you happen to have not done that, that's okay. Either at the very end you can fix it, I believe, or certainly at this point you can fix it. And the point we would be at now when we have discovered it is we've done the yellow corners, the yellows face up, they're oriented correctly so that all sides match in color. We've done the same for the whites. We've turned it to the side, and all of the whites and yellows that were in the center or misplaced on one of the sides have been righted, so the whole white side is done except for the center, but the whole corners and middle pieces are done, and the whole yellow piece is done. We still have some other ones to deal with, but if you want to fix this center now, it's a good time. And so I basically deal with the yellow first. So I find out where it needs to go, which is of course here. So I orient the cube like that, where the yellow's on the face, that's the front that's facing you, the front, and wherever you're moving it to the yellow side is on the top. And I do a modified A move. If you remember the A move, before we dealt that to rotate these corners. And what we did is we used only this slice and this slice. And the four moves were, this was moved over that way, then this was down, then this was moved back, and then this was moved up. We'll do something similar, but instead of starting with this horizontal slice, moving it that way, we'll start with the center slice where the yellow is and move just that way. So we just move that way. And then we would, if it were the normal one, we would bring this right side down, but instead we'll bring the center piece down. And then what we would have done is return this first one back over to there. So we'll move just the center slice back over. And then we would have taken this one and moved it up, but instead we'll take the center slice and we'll move it up. And so that has now put the yellow in the correct place, which of course on a 3x3 also puts the white in the correct place. And then These others are wrong, but as I described in the earlier video, you can just fix those by rotating the center slice until they're correct, and then go to your next step, which is explained earlier in the video about completing these edges. So that deals with that case.